Hello, beautiful homemakers. We're continuing Secrets of Fascinating Womanhood. We're in Chapter 9, Secret number 6, and we're continuing the class. Now, the other common complaint that husbands make about their wives is that they are dull and boring, that they are only interested in children, makeup, gossip, and TV programs. I wish this wasn't true, but with so many women, it is a valid complaint. Don't misunderstand me, however. Men don't want us to compete with them verbally, or debate with them, or have man-to-man discussions. They just expect us to know something about current affairs and other things they often talk about, or at least to show an interest in what they are saying. They also like us to develop our minds and our feminine skills. We should always be learning something useful or creative. We can do this by reading widely. Do we all belong to the library? If we don't enjoy reading, there are instructional videos and DVDs available at most libraries, and there are night classes like this one. Yes, Diane? I've just finished a night course in artificial flower arranging, and I loved it. I'm going to make all my gifts this Christmas, and I think the money I'll save will probably more than pay for my course. Very good, Diane, and I'm sure your personally made gifts will be treasured by those who receive them. And that's the kind of hobby we can do with a friend. There are many feminine skills we can learn at home, and many of them will save us money. Embroidery, toy making, cake decorating, flower arranging, all kinds of handiwork. I love to bake my own whole grain bread. I'm a bit of a health fanatic. Most men like their wives to bake for them. What are some more ideas? I used to write stories for a children's magazine, said Angela. Why, that's great, Angela. I grow roses, said Helena. I like to draw and paint, said Diane. I teach a Sunday school class for children, said Marina. Excellent, very good. The teacher looked pleased. You're such an interesting class. I love you all. Keep it up, all your lives. Let's all develop our minds to the fullest. Let's leave our TV off more often. Let's be interesting to our husbands. Remember life's great rule. Use it or lose it. We can really enjoy our homemaking. We are never bored when we have friends to mingle with. And there is no greater joy in the world and no more important work than to be involved with our children. And I wanted to add that for a different post I had made this list and I thought I'd add it. How will you stay intellectually active at home? Reading, blogging, cooking, baking, drawing, sewing or embroidery, writing letters, genealogy, studying something in nature such as flowers, trees, squirrels, birds, learning to paint or watercolor, help a friend decorate her house, quilt, knit or crochet, study history, play games with children or the elderly, visit neighbors, do puzzles, make cards. How will you stay involved with others around you? Teach Sunday school. Write letters, make cards, teach someone how to read, go on a missions trip, babysit, mentor, join a community organization, and ask someone to lunch after church. How will you stay spiritually centered? Attend Sunday morning church, sing a cappella at home, join a choir, attend a Sunday night or Wednesday night Bible class, pray out loud at home or write out your prayers. Find a prayer partner to meet with once a month. Attend Sunday school. Pray over people in person or from a list. Send encouraging cards to family, friends, the elderly, people from church, or even those you don't know in difficult circumstances. Invite people to church or to join you once a month in your home. Help out around your church building. Are we starting to catch a vision of our woman's role as God intended it to be? Isn't being a mother and homemaker challenging and rewarding? But it does require skill. It also requires wisdom, and most of all, love. Lots and lots of love. Let's not be influenced by a few discontented women who degrade our beautiful role. The media will always magnify conflict and make it seem more widespread than it actually is. Men never degrade motherhood. They never degrade the woman's role. Men love and respect their mothers too much. They realize how noble and beautiful motherhood is. It's a glorious role, a role that shines brighter and brighter as our families mature. I believe our honor as a mother and a wife continues to increase as our descendants increase, even throughout all eternity. I firmly believe we are eternal beings. We need to remember our spiritual growth. It's so easy to get caught up in short-term worldly views. The powers of darkness and deception have great hold on the world today, especially through the media. So let's spread some light and reach out and be kind to those outside our family circle. Let's develop the unconditional love that Jesus spoke about. You remember the story of the Good Samaritan that Marina shared with us last week? We should help any person in need and always be charitable. I read 2 chapters from my Bible every morning. It reminds me of eternal things. I don't watch TV much now. I believe we should try and leave this world and all our friends better for having known us. I'm sure you all believe that too. I believe God is preparing us in this life for a higher and more joyful life in the next world. Sonia, you have a question? Yes, I would like to think that we mothers are respected like you say, but when I take my little girl to the doctor, he treats me as if I'm just a kid. The teacher nodded in sympathy. I know exactly how you feel, Sonia. Even my own husband used to be guilty of this. It is a harsh truth that many people, especially busy professionals who are dealing with the public every day, quickly sense our self-esteem and treat us accordingly. But as our self-esteem improves, so does the courtesy with which others treat us. Keep working on secret number 5, Sonia, inner serenity. That's the key. Do your goal list. Watch your posture. Stand erect, head up, chin pointed slightly out and up. Learn to smile readily. Put a cheerful feminine lilt in your voice. Then watch the way in which people and professionals treat you. Now, class, to close off tonight's lesson, I want to hand out this list of 10 proven rules for raising well-balanced children. Let's read them through together. 10 rules for raising well-balanced children. Rule 1. Allow your children to be themselves. Teach them right from wrong and discipline them. But don't try to mold their personalities into what you would like them to become. Rule 2. Praise your children's accomplishments, no matter how small. Praise far more often than you criticize, and never tease them. Rule 3. Never compare one child with another. Rule 4. Always build up the image of your children's natural father. Rule 5. Be fair and always keep your word so that your children will respect you. Rule 6. Allow your children to win against you sometimes. Rule 7. Present a united front with your husband. Rule 8. Never shield your children from life's difficulties. Overcoming difficulties is how character is developed. Rule 9. Have your children earn all their pocket money. Teach them the satisfaction of work. Rule 10. Teach your children to pray and love God by example. Any comments, class? Very sound rules, said Elsie. I would add, give them lots of warm, loving hugs and read them stories at bedtime when they are little. Be a good listener, said Marina. Thank you, Elsie and Marina. Yes, hugging and listening to our children is very, very important, and reading interesting stories to them when they are young helps develop in them a love of reading and of books. Now, here are this week's assignments. Secret number 6. Assignment 1. Obtain a desktop calendar planning diary with a page for each day or a similar planning aid and plan out your next 2 weeks. You might include homemaking duties, hobbies, skills development, spiritual development, exercise, children's development, school activities and holidays, music, ideas, shopping, get-togethers with your friends, family outings, holidays, husband and wife dates, meetings, time of outings without the children, books to obtain and read, library visits, birthdays and anniversaries. Assignment 2. If you go out to work, list all the advantages of giving it up. Ask your husband to read the list and tell you honestly how he feels. Our 2 guests tonight are Charlene and Tessa. It's so nice to have you both with us tonight. Charlene, would you speak first and then we'll hear from Tessa. Charlene, a true experience. Oh, the heartache I need not have gone through with our oldest son. He is just 20 years old and has had his mama telling him what to do and when to do it for too long. Now I can see what caused his rebellion in the first place. Me. He returned home this summer to work on the farm for his father, and with the help of Fascinating Womanhood, things went smoother than they ever have for years. I know now what I'm doing on this earth, and what happiness can come to a woman. Before, I never felt that a woman was anything but a yes dear dummy, but I couldn't be happy that way, and it resulted in my being in competition with men, and especially with my husband. I made the decisions for us and tried to help my husband. I made every effort to convince him that I had a brain on my shoulders. All of this sent me further from what I really wanted, his love. How much easier it is now. How much more fun it is to have my whole day to do for him the things I should. The romantic days of our engagement and early marriage are coming back. I now enjoy being a woman. It's really fun. And if you haven't read the short story, When Queens Drive By, I have that story on my channel, and I encourage you to listen to it. Tessa, a true experience. During the first Fascinating Womanhood class, lots of things the teacher said grated on me. But I was having trouble with my marriage and thought that my thinking would change. I was frustrated with working full-time at a job I enjoyed, and yet having to do all the household duties myself. I was hoping to find ways to get my husband to help with the domestic duties. Well, needless to say, I've undergone a complete about-turn. Our marriage has improved, and I have been gathered up into the enthusiasm of our teacher and class members who really believe in 2 sexes. The most important change was when I began accepting my husband's small faults as part of him, and realized that he probably never would change. It has relieved me from the feeling that I must teach him until he realized the right way to do things, my way. All our married life, my husband has talked endlessly about buying an airplane. I've always argued about the safety factor, cost, frivolousness, etc. Finally I said, and meant, Wayne, you've wanted to buy an airplane all your life. I really think you owe it to yourself to buy an airplane. Why, he was so happy. But the next day, he told me that he really didn't think he should buy one at this time, and gave me all the reasons I'd been harping on for years. It all happened because I supported him rather than fought him. I'm also happier with housework. Thank you so much. Thank you, Charlene and Tessa. It's wonderful to have you come along and share with us your experiences. In closing, class, I would just like to testify to you all how much I enjoy being a mother and a homemaker. I love it. I treasure my role. At this stage of my life, I feel brimful of satisfaction. I wouldn't change it for anything. Good night, everybody. The next morning, on the way to school, Angela stopped at the gas station to get petrol for her car. As she took her card out of the checkbook folder to pay, she noticed the reminders she had written on her checkbook the night before. So during her lunch break, she drove downtown to a stationer's and bought herself a desktop calendar for the following year, and also a medium-sized, glossy white writing board with little flowers along the edges to put on the wall of her kitchen, and a blue felt pen that wiped off with a cloth. She couldn't find a notebook with a pink or red cover for her love book, so she bought an ordinary notebook and some pink paper to cover it with. Feeling pleased with herself, Angela drove back to school. That evening, she asked her son David to attach the writing board on the kitchen wall with the adhesive strips supplied. "Okay, Mum," he said cheerfully. Angela was surprised how willingly David agreed to this task. Then she realized that he saw it as a masculine task. Over the next few days, David and Tiffany wrote all sorts of things on the board until the novelty wore off. After that, Angela found it highly useful to keep note of things to be done, and household items and food that needed replenishing. She looked forward to the new year coming up in about 6 weeks' time, when she would begin using her daily planning diary. And I want to add, be sure to go through your home and give away anything that has an unpleasant or irritating or sad memory attached to it. It will make a difference. And this is the end of Chapter 9. While you're waiting for Chapter 10 to be uploaded, you can listen to When Queens Ride By, or The Feminine Ways, or any of the other short stories by Grace Livingston Hill or Louisa May Alcott on my channel for something uplifting to listen to.